spec at 7:12. Scott Municipal Airport, that's at about 7:22 as that moves eastward. So we'll see if they continue that tornado warning that goes for just a little bit longer here. 12 minutes to be exact there, Central Time Zone. Now 8 minutes, or 7 minutes rather, for Central Time Zone. We'll see if they extend that a little further. Let me get back. I want to take a look at this cell. Still kind of impressive into Campbell County, maybe strengthening just a little bit from that last scan we've had. We see this value again going back up. So could be some rotation with this. Let's see if we're seeing any shear. Not as well pronounced maybe as what it looked like earlier, but still the individual cell looks quite impressive again right through here. Call it an inflow notch where that air is coming back in and wrapping up that storm tightly. Sometimes that's where you see the wall cloud or the lowering that's kind of spinning like that. Sometimes we get that, and this could be easily the case with that system that's making its way through Campbell County. So that warning itself into Campbell County goes until 7:30. New tornado warning for Campbell and Scott. So this is going to go until 7:45. Let's see if, there it is. So it's the back side of this cell. So it's the one that's coming out now of Fentress County. They went ahead and issued it now for Scott County. So again, new tornado warning goes until 7:45 Eastern time for Scott County. It's another 40 minutes as this line pushes to the east. Severe thunderstorm warning for Loudon. They're still continuing that one. Monroe and Ray has been dropped. So man, it's going to get active here in the next little bit. So please just make sure you're paying attention. The flashing red boxes, those are tornado warnings. So Morgan County, Campbell County, the newest one goes into Scott County until 7:45. I'll put a track on this. We can kind of get an idea. It's going to be kind of right through here, this part of the cell. So heads up to me at around 7:10. Again, the Scott Municipal Airport, Scott County, there's 7:11. Helenwood 7:14, Verdun 7:16, and Scott High School around 7:16. West Oneida at 7:17 as well. So they kind of extended that warning as it's coming out of Fentress and going into Scott counties. We also have the areas to the south. This one looks a little more impressive. We'll see if Anderson County gets extended. I would not be surprised because this warning goes for just another few minutes there. Let me go back out, sorry. This one goes until 7:15 into Morgan County. So Anderson County would be next up. There's just some hail right there for sure, west of Petros. That's showing maybe 2 3/4 inch, maybe on the larger side, but I'd say at least golf ball size hail, a pretty good bet with this storm near Petros. And then you can see again, what we say we look for, that inflow could be wrapping around, and that would be near Grove. If we had a tornado, that's most likely where it would show up across the area. There's our rotation right through there, kind of broad, or not incredibly tight, but certainly worth watching. But I would say that right through there where you see the darker pink and almost a black shading right now, that kind of lets me know there's probably some hail. So we're near Petros Highway, Treetop Lane, and this is going to move north up New River Highway near Buffalo and Braytown as it comes out of Morgan County. That would be into Anderson. So there's most likely some hail right through there. We can take a look. And you can see this has had a history of producing hail back towards Liberty. There's Highway 62 back towards Wartburg. So yeah, there's most likely some decent sized hail with that cell as well as it's moving to the north and east. And it's showing again the possibility of some rotation. So we'll need to watch that carefully as that continues to move to the east. But at minimum, you're getting some hail that's over 1 inch in diameter just west of Petros, just about to make its way into Anderson County. So we'll see. There's Braytown, so this is northwest Anderson, and this is southern sections of Scott County right through here, and this is Campbell County. So Campbell, Scott, Anderson, and Morgan, right where they all kind of come together. So that's the area we're locating right through here. Let me go back towards the north and west. All right, so they went and issued that warning again, as I mentioned, this cell, and this is going to include Knox County probably. We'll see what they do with this. All right, so barely clips northern Knox County. So this is the new warning that has just come out. So it's Anderson, southern Campbell, extreme northwest Knox County, and this will go until 8 o'clock. So we're still about less than an hour away, and this will continue. Again, that's been a pretty impressive cell right through here, just east of Wartburg, moving east-northeast at 31 miles per hour. Again, that little appendage that we look at right down through here, that's where it would be kind of wrapping that air, right where that little logo just showed up right across the area, that spinning circle. That, again, lets me know that's where we could be seeing our rotation. So right through there, that would be our more likely spot. Pretty close to Union, Stevens area. So we're right along 62 near Petros, maybe just south of that. So right through there, there's Union, Stevens. This would be the area that's showing the greatest opportunity to have rotation within that storm, as this is moving east at about 30 miles per hour. And that's why they went ahead and kind of warned ahead of this line to include Campbell and southern Campbell and Anderson counties, and this will go until 8 o'clock this evening. So that one is definitely worth watching. Want to keep an eye areas to the west as well. Back towards Middle Tennessee, so not really seeing that there. Okay, let me go up a little further to the north. I want to keep an eye on this cell. This is now no update yet for Claiborne County, but I wouldn't be surprised if you get a warning next. This cell still looks quite impressive. Just south of Chaska, over towards White Oak Elementary. So these areas, make sure you're in your safe spot. Chaska right about now. White Oak Elementary and the city proper there, 716, Anthrace 720, Egan 722, Clairfield. So we're talking about Campbell County or Claiborne County at this point. So Clairfield, Valley Creek, you need to go ahead and get into your safe area, even though we don't have a warning yet. I would feel better if you were there. At minimum, you're probably going to see some decent sized hail and some gusty winds with this. We'll see if this warning gets extended. But for now, this warning into Campbell County goes for another 20 minutes till 7:30. We have the warnings now into Scott County. This is a tornado warning till 7:45. I'm going to switch quickly over to that. It's really just right along this line. The rotation isn't quite as strong as it was earlier, but honestly, what we've seen is just this entire line that's making its way through Kentucky. So there are two separate areas. One right through here. So that backwards letter C, and then the same thing here. And they're kind of moving east northeast. So I'll kind of loop this for you. Actually, they're moving almost due east right now. So those little areas, Oneida, Huntsville, you could easily be seeing some wind damage soon if you're not already. Pine Knot to Williamsburg there into Kentucky, McCrary into Whitley. You need to be in your safe area just with these gusty wind potentials that are coming through. But what we can sometimes see is along that line, you can get a quick little spin up, kind of like what we're seeing there into portions of Scott County. All right, let me do a reset and go areas further to the south because I want to keep an eye on this cell. This one's looking pretty impressive. That's coming out of Morgan County and heading into northwest Anderson. So this cell right through here. Union around 714, Buffalo 725, Upper Windrock. That's a pretty busy place, as you know, with the ATVs, the windmills, the wind turbines, rather, that are up there on Buffalo Mountain. That's what we're talking about here in northwest Anderson County, so if you're familiar with those areas. And this little circle, the red circle with the gold flashing around it, is telling me that's where the better chance of rotation would be with this cell. So pretty close to the Union area there into Morgan County. So we're just about to Petros. At minimum, you've got some hail with this that could be around 1 inch in diameter or larger. All right? At least 1 inch in diameter hail. That's golf ball size. So this cell, again, has the potential to produce a tornado, but also the potential to produce hail at minimum. There's our rotation right there. That maroon shading right there near Stevens, south of Petros. That would be our greater risk. So Coton over to Frost, Fork Mountain, Braytown, heads up Briceville, the elementary and community there. You could be next as this is moving into your direction. So something we want to watch with this. But I'm going to keep a track on that one as well. So Fork Mountain, that's an area that we're watching as that moves towards the east. Also, keep an eye Petros. It's kind of right over the top of you as we speak. Again, the active tornado warnings we have across the area, this is just about done, the western side of this. So Dearmont, Wartburg, I'd say you're safe for now, as this tornado warning expires here in just a couple of minutes. But the ones areas east into Anderson, southern Campbell, that's the one that goes until 8 o'clock. That's the cell that's shown probably the greatest threat here in the short term, as well as this one that's making its way out of Campbell and towards Claiborne County, maybe weakening slightly. Let me look at a different radar. It's just really hard to see. I'd say it's a little less threatening than what it was earlier, but let's wait officially until this warning gets canceled here in the next 15 minutes. But since they haven't pushed it further east into Claiborne for now, I think they're probably thinking what I'm thinking is that maybe it's not quite as impressive as what it looked like earlier, but we don't want to let our guard down. So I would still say our Claiborne County friends, make sure you're still kind of keeping an eye on this. So there was, again, an update. We talked about it earlier there, 4 miles east-southeast of Allert there in Fentress County. There were some trees uprooted or snapped and maybe some roof damage. That would have been with that cell earlier that went through the Allert community there into Fentress County. I believe it's still this cell that's kind of making its way into Campbell County, almost into Claiborne now. So that's worth watching. This cell to the south, probably the biggest threat the way it's looking right now. At least strength-wise, that's coming out of Morgan, going into Anderson County. This tornado warning officially goes until 8 o'clock, so this one still goes for another 45 minutes. Right over the Petros community as we speak. Could be some easily 1-inch plus diameter hail with that cell as it's moving to the east as well. So that's something we need to keep an eye on. Please just make sure you're in your safe area, at minimum, until this storm passes. I don't want you to go out and take a look at any damage or anything until you know it's safe. Liberty, Wartburg, Grove, warning could be trimmed back for these areas for now, so I would say anywhere to the west of this line, safe for now. But as I mentioned, want to point back areas to the west. We have these additional storms that are developing, forming more of a line, and you can see that right through here. This line that's going to be sliding east of Nashville, and this is what will actually overtake these cells in the next couple of hours. Still could be some isolated wind damage, and then once that line moves through, it'll be much quieter. But we're still talking, that's probably not till 11 o'clock before it makes it into our area, between 10 and 11 o'clock tonight across our area. So the cells we need to focus on are the ones that are kind of the renegades out by themselves before that line even gets through. Let's take a look at this cell that's down into Roane County. Maybe starting to see a little bit of that, what we call again that inflow, or that little notch maybe coming in right through there. So I need to keep an eye on that. That one is moving northeast as well at about 30 miles per hour. Let me just switch radars real quick to see if it looks any better. Kind of hard to see from that one. But let's see if we're getting... All right, yeah, there's probably some broad rotation with that cell, as I showed you here, kind of where that little inflow could be near Midway, near the high school and elementary. So it's all kind of right there into Roane County. So Paint Rock Farm, Lake Estates, that sounds like a subdivision near the Paint Rock community, 727, Dogwood Shores, 728. Again, as that moves east, that's a severe thunderstorm warning. So in minimum, we got the potential maybe some damaging winds with that cell. I'm going to look actually areas back towards the north and west with our Embassy Suites camera to see if we can actually see that cell that's kind of northwest of Oak Ridge. It kind of will depend on what the sky is looking like. Let me just take a look here quickly. Hey, Don, do you have an update for me over there?
Yeah, you had mentioned the Walmart. We've been calling the authorities there to find out what we can learn, but I did call a place right across the street, the Highway 55 Burger and Shake, and they were saying, you know, we're closing. It sounded like there was a tornado like right next to us, and they are right across the street from the Walmart. So they were closing up shop because it was that bad. The Food City was telling, I asked them, I said, please tell everyone not to come. She goes, we're having, the tornado sirens are going off, the wind, and she was just saying I wouldn't come out shopping, at least wait another hour or so. We also have some video, and some of it better than other, but it certainly paints a picture of exactly the kind of thing that can happen that people are scared of, and they can really cause some serious damage. I don't know if we just want to throw the first one up there, guys. This is from Chelsea Smith, and you can see through the window of her car what they think was a tornado. Now, Ken would tell you too, you can think whatever and obviously be careful, and then we'll later get these things confirmed if it really was, if a real tornado actually was out in that particular area. But you can see it back on the other side of the trees. Obviously, they didn't want to mess with it, and they're backing up and getting away. I think we have another video. We're waiting on it, another one that the people at least described it. It's hard to tell from their picture, but they thought that they could see funnel clouds forming. But again, you know, people will take a picture in the video and you're not sure, but they might be seeing something better than what you did, what you saw. But several people from Crossville area talking to them saying that they were saying they had the tornado warnings. They thought, they're being told anyway that there was a tornado that touched down. Whether or not that is the actual case, we don't know. And then I guess I would probably reiterate what Ken has been saying. Because it's unknown and because it just keeps popping up, I mean, based on the fact we've talked to half a dozen businesses all over the place and they're not sure, is make sure that if you're in that zone that Ken's talking about, just, you know what, don't take chances. Get to the basement, get to somewhere safe, and be careful. And again, we've got calls in to the Crossville authorities. We're trying to find out a little bit more and see if there is any damage or anything like that, and then we will let you know as well about that. So we'll go back to Ken and keep track of what's going on here.
Yeah, Don, thanks so much. And like I was mentioning earlier, sometimes it's hard to tell. You can see a lowering from the base of the clouds, and that may be what that second video was. And those can often rotate. You can actually see the base or the bottom of that cell rotate, but it may not have that funnel extending all the way to the ground. Earlier, that first shot, if that was the one out of Cumberland County, was that right?
I think so.
Yeah, that looked like that may have been out of Cumberland County. That looked a little more impressive. I was still kind of away from the monitor, but it would make sense if it was in that same area that we had reports earlier near that Walmart or that burger place or Food City, could be potentially a tornado. If it is confirmed, they will send out a crew tomorrow and take a look and see if there's some damage. All right, I want to get back and show you this cell. This one is the one that I'm really keeping a close eye on. This cell is extending out of Morgan County, so it's right on the Morgan-Anderson County border now. This tornado warning goes until 8 o'clock. This is an impressive looking cell. What I mean by that, it's showing some characteristics that this could be rotating, like we said, maybe a wall cloud, possibly a funnel, maybe even a tornado. Not confirmed, but something I need to keep an eye on. Tioga 724, Braytown 729, Frost 736. And I will reiterate once again, I know we're interrupting regularly scheduled programming, but this is our policy. We stay on the air to make sure you and your family are safe if there are tornado warnings in our area. Even if your area is east over into Sevier County, Greene County, I know you have no impacts directly at this point, but I will say it is possible as we go over the next couple of hours. Everybody has that risk of seeing some severe thunderstorms as we go over the next couple of hours. This is the one that really has my attention though. This cell that's making its way towards the east, so it looks like it's right on the border, again, between Morgan and Anderson County. That's where this little inflow is right there, where it could be wrapping itself around like a top counterclockwise. So right through there would be that main area. So here are your communities. The Frost community at 728, that's going to be in Anderson County. All these are Anderson counties showing up. Dutch Valley 737, Briceville 742, and also Granite at 742 as this moves towards the north and east. Again, I always say I keep an eye on that number, that VTI, that virtual threat index. When that starts to creep up into that 5 range, that really grabs my attention that storm means a bit of business. This one's showing maybe a little bit of rotation as well into Morgan County. All the yellows, these are severe thunderstorm warnings that go until 8 o'clock. That one's 745 into Scott County. But I want to point out, even if it's just a severe thunderstorm warning, you need to take it seriously. We could be easily seeing winds 60, 70 plus miles per hour that can do damage, sometimes often as much or more than a low-end tornado. So take these seriously. And what we are also seeing when the weather services are issuing these warnings, they're saying the possibility of a tornado is with them as well. And that has been the case with some of these storms. That's why we still have the tornado warning there into Scott County. Doesn't look quite as impressive as it did earlier, but still that tornado warning there into Scott County goes for another 20 minutes there until 7:45. But this cell, I will say the one that worked its way out of Campbell into Claiborne County, that warning has been dropped. thankfully. The cell did weaken. Remember, I talked about that cell was weakening a bit coming out of Campbell into Claiborne County, so that warning has been dropped for now. I still say this one is probably the most impressive that we've seen, maybe coming down a little bit in that last scan, so that would be a good thing, but I don't want to let our guard down. They're still showing some shear or rotation with that cell just off towards the south and east. So right exactly where that track is, I think that's in a good spot. So Frost community there around 7:30. Let me put a track back on that. 7:31 Frost, Dutch Valley 7:40, Seaber Flats 7:41, Dutch Valley School 7:41, and again Bryceville around 7:45. Notice that cell back towards Morgan County, starting to see that little cone that's showing up right through there. That's telling me there could be some rotation with that cell. That's one I'll keep an eye on. Northern Morgan County right now. Severe thunderstorm warning for that, but could be seeing some rotation starting to reappear there. So Elgin 740, West Robbins 741, and Black Creek at 743. Let's go a little further to the south. Watching this cell getting pretty close to Eaton Crossroads there. That's the 40-75 split as you're coming out of Knox, going back into Loudoun County. Looks like new tornado warning coming out from Morgan and Scott. Yep, that cell I was watching right there. So they saw the same thing I was seeing. That cell right there, so there's our new tornado warning as well. This goes until 8:15, and it's going to be right along that track where you see that orange arrow. So that's going to put it near Rugby, 732. Elgin, 739. Doesn't mean there is a tornado, but we're seeing rotation showing up with that. West Robbins, 742, and Black Creek, 744. It's moving east at about 30 miles per hour, so it doesn't give you a lot of time, but make sure you are in your safe area. Let me get a little bit closer look at this. Again, right through there, you can see that little inflow that we talk about south of the Burrville area. And I'll keep an eye on this number as we get the next couple of scans to see if it jumps up any. It's a 2.5 right now. Shear, there it is. So right through there is that same spot that I just showed you, kind of right through there near Burrville. So make sure you're in your safe spot. This new tornado warning just came out. That's for Morgan County and southern Scott, it looks like, as that's going to be making its way off towards the north and east. So it's north of Sunbright, north of the Deer Lodge community there into Morgan County. But again, we are starting to see some rotation with that cell as it's moving towards the north and east. So that's our newest one. We've got all the warnings, by the way, scrolling there at the bottom of your screen as well to make sure you're staying up to date. When we have a tornado warning issued, warning means that it is imminent or it is happening. Or that potential is certainly there. That's why a warning is issued. A watch means conditions are favorable and then it's possible. Now, most of the area is under a severe thunderstorm watch as we go through the evening till 11 o'clock. But even within those severe thunderstorm watches, you can get isolated tornadoes like we've seen across the area. And that has been the case across the area for today. New severe thunderstorm warning coming out for Knox County as well. Let me see where that one is going to show. So there it is. They went ahead and extended that cell, the one that was coming out of Loudoun County I talked about. And so that one is going to go until 8:30. So that one we'll keep an eye on as well. So Paint Rock area, that's right about now. Poplar Springs, Cave Creek, Piney Grove, that's 738. And then Rogers Ridge subdivision at 740, Buttermilk Shore. So that's going to be out there in the west side of Knox County as well. So these are things we're going to be keeping an eye on for sure as these kind of push into the area over the next couple of hours. I want to take a look at our camera. I'm going to go real quick back. This is the Embassy Suites camera. I'm going to switch it over. And this will be looking off towards the north and west. And you can see a pretty decent rain shaft and that cloud. That's going to be the cell that's back into Anderson County. I'm going to go back a little further towards the west, and we'll be keeping an eye on those storms that are coming out of Loudoun County back towards the south. So kind of turning that back down towards the river, kind of doing a pan, and you can see how dark the clouds are coming in from the west. So that's what we'll keep an eye on as we go over the next 30 to 45 minutes as this cell that's coming out of the Loudoun County area pushes into West Knox. Couple areas, again, we need to keep an eye on. This one that's now in Anderson County. So Morgan County, at least the southern side of this tornado warning right through here, you are clear for now, but the northern half of Morgan County into central Scott County, that's the new tornado warning that basically goes until 8:15. And then we still have this tornado warning that's coming out of Morgan into Anderson County that goes until 8 o'clock. So that one we certainly need to keep an eye on right through there. We're talking about Dutch Valley 740, Dutch Valley School 741, Briceville 745, and the elementary at 745 as well. This one in Morgan County looks quite impressive. That's pushing to the east into Scott County, so West Robbins at 742, Mountain View at 746, and the Hewitt area at 751 as that moves to the east. Again, the one that was in Campbell moving into Claiborne, that has weakened enough that they dropped the warning, which is good. So Middlesboro, yes, you're going to be seeing some thunderstorms up there, but not quite as bad as what it looked like earlier when it was back into Campbell County. I'll keep an eye on this cell down to the south, again, getting pretty close to the Eaton Crossroads area where 40 and 75 split. That one's kind of been fluctuating up and down. Lake Awana, we're at 734, the Oral area 738, Oak Grove at 742, and Buttermilk Shores the same time frame as that's moving north and east. So there is some hail with that at minimum. In fact, we can take a look at the hail, kind of what we call a hail path across the area. It's kind of a swath that shows you what has been producing hail. And you can see that stretch from Spring City northward, and also that one through Morgan County, just east of Fairfield Glade. That has produced hail, and then the same cell there as well, north of the Sunbright area. So those stripes, if you will, is what has been producing the hail across the area. Shear, this one's looking quite impressive into northern Morgan County, and also that one into Anderson County, but I'll focus in on this one especially there into Morgan County. You can see where that shear is showing up. So Midway 734, Elgin Community 741, Robbins at about 743, and Robbins Elementary at 746 as that moves east. We're going to be talking about soon crossing the border there between northern Morgan and south, the southern third, if you will, of Scott County. So if you're from Huntsville southward, go ahead and get into your safe area now. Same thing if you're in Coal Hill, as this is moving east, northeast at about 33 miles per hour. There is some rotation showing up with that, with this warning that goes until 745. Also, the area that we're keeping an eye on, extreme southern Campbell, but more so I'd say northern Anderson. This cell that's moving to the north and east, that is cycling back up again, grabbing my attention. So Laurel Grove 736, Briceville 744, the Granite Community 744 as well, as that cell moves towards the east. So nothing yet. Areas to the east, I know that a lot of people want to watch their regular scheduled programming, but again, what we do here, WATE 6 on your side, when there are active tornado warnings in your area, we stay on the air until that threat has passed, okay? So sorry, areas to the east, Greene County, south, but we need to make sure that you are aware that additional storms are going to be developing back towards the west with this line that now is kind of heading towards Cookeville into Putnam County, so it's east of Nashville. These are individual cells that have the potential to produce tornadoes. This line of storms will produce the potential for damaging wind gusts. So even if you haven't seen the isolated severe storms yet, areas south and east, you still have a chance later tonight with this line that comes through, and that's going to be closer to that maybe 10 to 11 time frame before it even gets here into our area. So that's again why we're staying here on the air, to keep you updated with these warnings that we do have. All right, new tornado warning now for Anderson, Campbell. It's going to be with this line right through here. No, they're just saying that continues it. So it's that same cell, about 8 miles west of Clinton, moving northeast at 30. So yeah, this one's pretty impressive, as I've been saying, this cell right through here. We'll put a track on this. So this one is making its way through northern Anderson County. If it gets into Knox, it would be extreme northwest Knox, okay? But yeah, that value's come up a little bit there. So Dutch Valley 740, the school 741, Seaber Flats 742, Briceville area at 745. So right through there, again, you can kind of see the little inflow right through there with that one. And you can see that one there into Morgan County. So that cell's worth watching as well into Morgan County. Midway 737, Elgin 744, and Robbins at 746. You may see your time changing by a couple of minutes here or there because when we get the new updates, it's calculating if it's slowed down a little bit or has sped up a little bit or where the greater risk of threat of the circulation could be within a storm. So that's why you sometimes see those change by a minute or two across the area, but don't wait, again, if you're in these areas. So these are the active tornado warnings we have. There are only 2 at this point, and they're the most impressive ones we've seen so far. So this is for eastern Morgan County near Sunbright. That one, again, this one goes until 8:15 Eastern, and then the one we have for Anderson County goes until 8 o'clock. So at minimum, we'll be on the air for another 30 minutes or so in case these get extended a little further towards the east. But this one we need to keep an eye on for sure. That's making its way through Anderson County, right through there, so a 4.7 virtual threat index. Again, I always say if it gets closer to that 5 number or higher, that's when it really is something we need to keep an eye on. All right, recap here, 7:34, that's our time here. It's Sunday. It is June 11th. Again, you're watching WATE 6 on your side, and we're following severe thunderstorms and possible tornadoes across East Tennessee. The active warnings we have are for eastern Morgan and central Scott County that goes until 8:15, and most of the northern half of Anderson County. So at this point, Oak Ridge, you're not impacted by this warning, but I will say the ones that are developing to the south here, back into Roane County near Harriman, we need to keep an eye on because it's kind of moving in that direction. In fact, I'll put a track just on this cell that's near Harriman. It's going to be near the high school and middle school around 7:39, and once it gets beyond that, it's going to be working its way up into portions of Anderson County. All right, the active severe thunderstorm warning have for Knox County, that's for the southern and western half. It's with this cell moving to the north and east. Again, there could be some broad rotation with this one. It's moving east-northeast at 31. At minimum, you've got some small hail with it. I'd say these two are our biggest concerns, though. The one that's coming out of Morgan into Scott, and this one that's in northern Anderson County, just about to cross I-75. It's kind of west of the Clinton area. So we're starting to get into these more populated areas now as it's getting into Anderson County. Let's put a track on this. So there we go. Moving east-northeast at 29. Laurel Grove, 737, Dutch Valley, 741. Still that Briceville community, which is near I-75 there in northern Anderson, that's 746. And the elementary school, 745. You see the Briceville just updated to 744, so it's a little bit quicker. Again, that new scan coming in, it recalculates the time. Now that VTI is up to 5. Again, that has me concerned. When those values jump up close to that 5 or beyond, that's telling me that we have that potential. That storm's getting a little bit stronger. So at minimum, look at that 2 3/4 inch estimate of hail. That's pretty large, 2 3/4 inch. Quickly, I'll show you what we're talking about here when we start to give estimated hail size across the area. It could be close to tennis ball. I'd say that's probably somewhere a little bigger than golf ball. Sometimes they can be a little bit overestimated because it's getting higher up in the cloud. But I would say we're at least between golf ball, which is a severe limit. In fact, anything over quarter size, the size of a 25-cent piece, 1 inch diameter, that is going to be severe. So we're talking that has the potential to produce some golf ball to tennis ball size hail with that cell that we're looking at right here into portions of Anderson County. So that's an impressive cell for sure. So it's right through there. Let me go back quickly. We'll take a look. Yeah, in fact, right where you're starting to see this black that's showing up. Anytime the color levels get into the black, that's going to be some decent size hail. That right through there. So New River Highway, Briceville Highway, Dutch Valley School, Dutch Valley Road. These are the areas where we could be talking about some pretty significant hail in some of these storms, for sure. In fact, I want to take a look. Let's do this. We're going to take a little scan. Maybe it looks like it just possibly, it may have just come down a little bit, that cell. Let me see if I can redraw this. Yeah, it looks like that cell may have just come down a little bit from where it was earlier. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be quite to that extent, but that was an impressive, quite an impressive hail. Yeah, so this area right through here, you can kind of see, we're talking about 15, 30, that's about a 30,000 foot cell. Maybe there it is a little bit higher, maybe getting close to 45. So that's where the hail would be, right here. I've done kind of like a 3D cross section of this storm. So pretty close to Bryceville Elementary. That's some pretty impressive hail, maybe 1 inch in diameter. I'd say a little bit bigger than that as well. Let me quickly put a track on this. So there's a tornado warning for Anderson County at minimum. We've got some large hail with this, 1 inch in diameter or greater, showing estimate maybe 2 3/4 inch, which I showed you is getting closer to tennis ball size, but I'd say it's between somewhere tennis ball and golf ball size hail, certainly possible there as I showed you south of the Bryceville area. Then I'm keeping an eye on this cell. This one has some hail, but it's showing more rotation. This is the one that's coming out of Morgan Counties, north of Sunbright, about to cross over into Scott County. And that warning there goes until 8:15. There's your shear, there's your rotation. That's where it would be, kind of just east, right through there near Coal Hill. So that area is what we need to keep an eye on right there. Coal Hill 741, Elgin 744. So now we're making our way into Scott County. Heads up Robbins 749, that's the elementary area. Slick Rock 751, and Newtown, around 801 as that pushes to the east. So these are active tornado warnings we have. It's coming out of Morgan County going into Scott till 8:15, and southern Campbell and northern Anderson until 8 o'clock. All right, Don Hudson, I think you've got another update for me, maybe some more video out of Cumberland County?
Well, Crossville, both these videos are from Crossville, and that seems to be where a lot of things were going on today. And I will just start with the first one that Christy Nelson sent to us. I think that's the one that we have queued up here. This is by a car dealership, if I'm not mistaken here. There we go. Right there. Or I guess this is probably Steve's. This is the different one. Is this a Steve Fawn? Yeah, this is a Steve Fawn. And Steve, I apologize if it's not Fawn or Fan. That's just off of Main Street, the Ford dealership there in the Crossville. What's interesting about this, you see it and you can kind of see that it is rotating. Yeah, and there's debris, right? What's interesting, Ken, is you say that you guys can't see Ken. He's right there close to that monitor to see it. We're trying to see it. When Steve shot that video, he said it seemed like everyone else was just oblivious. Like this is going on and everyone else is just going about their day. You know, I don't know, and which is, it says a lot, I guess. Now, the other video we have, I think, is from the Walmart parking lot, and that's the one that's from Christy Nelson. And that's, again, it's far away, but you can see it. You can see that. I'm going to guess it's the same one,
Yeah,
maybe.
that's a tornado.
Right, and that looks like a tornado for sure.
Yeah, look at the debris. You can see it. There's
right.
Actually, sorry, Don.
No, it's going. No,
that very first frame. What you see is there's actually like a vortex. And it's almost rotating. It's starting to turn almost horizontal. Right there, you see that little vortex. Right. So that's when it was on the ground, and there was probably debris with that. So yeah, that's impressive.
And hopefully it wasn't on the ground very long to do it damage. But a lot of these places, as we mentioned before, around the Walmart, these other businesses were closing earlier, saying that they had heard the sirens going off, that they had heard winds. So this is when Ken's talking about it, this is what could be happening. And then you got the hail to go with it as well. But just be alert. I mean, just be aware that it could be happening and don't go walking into something or drive. I mean, it's interesting to have a viewer shoot video and say, I'm shooting this, and it just, like, no one else is even noticing it. So
just be safe.
Yeah, be safe. We'll go back over to Ken as he keeps showing us where you need to be ready, where it's going.
And again, I understand that we're cutting into programming and you may be missing a show, but this is why. The video, there were tornadoes. Could be doing damage to someone else's house. Have empathy to that, okay? This is why we stay on the air. It's our policy to stay on the air. While there are tornado warnings in the area, we want to make sure you are safe. You and your family, all of East Tennessee is safe. Let's do a quick recap here. We're getting at 7:42 right now. We still have some active tornado warnings across the area. This one into Anderson County goes until 8. The cell that's coming out of Morgan going into Scott County, that goes until 8:15. All right, so unless these get dropped earlier, at minimum, we're going to be staying on until those times, until these warnings have passed. We've had history. We've seen video proof that back towards Cumberland County, at minimum, they touched down earlier with that. All right, here's the one that we're watching that's moved into Scott County now. I would say Morgan County, you're just about clear for now. from this warning, but this is in Scott County. So Robbins, 7:45, Slick Rock, 7:53, Huntsville at 7:58, the middle school at 8 o'clock. All right, that's our one warning that's in the southern, about south of the Huntsville area. So you need to make sure you're in your safe area. This cell has been probably the most impressive, I will say, over the past 15 minutes or so. It may have maybe cycling a little bit, maybe trying to regain a little bit of strength, but it isn't quite as strong as what it looked like earlier, but still need to keep a close eye on this one, all right? Showing 2 3/4 inch size hail. So yeah, there could easily be some hail approaching the I-75 corridor. Now, I want to point this out. If you are listening to me, please don't pull underneath an overpass to get away from these storms, because it causes concern. It can cause traffic. Other people can't get off. Take your nearest exit and get to a safe spot, okay? So if you're along I-75, maybe listening, if you're streaming, somebody's streaming this in the car, if you're in Anderson County along I-75, and you're driving, just get to a safe spot. Also, some people, you've seen videos where they get under an overpass to try to stay safe from if there's a tornado or strong winds. It actually, we found by research, it accelerates the winds. It makes them even stronger, okay? It can be even more dangerous to be underneath an underpass, an overpass, all right? So just get to a safe area. Anderson County High School, this is kind of heading into that direction. So just kind of give you a landmark what we're talking about. There's Dutch Valley School near Leinart's. So right here where we're still seeing that little inflow, that rotation, Don talked about it earlier. We showed one video where it looked like there was a lowering from a cloud, and that cloud can kind of slowly rotate. All right, it's a wall cloud. It's from that wall cloud that you get the tornado, the funnel that comes all the way down and touches ground, makes contact. That's when it's a tornado. Sometimes you can just see that wall cloud rotating, but at any point it can drop a funnel and eventually a tornado down to the area. So that's why they've gone ahead and warning on these, because we've seen the history of some of those that will touch down and kind of dot the landscape, if you will, as they've moved through. This is one of the more impressive cells that we've been watching here this afternoon that's now making its way through northern Anderson County. So granted, around 7:49, Maples 7:54, there's the update. So now a little sooner for Maples there at 7:50. Anderson County High School 7:53, Norris 7:58, and the elementary school there at 7:59. I will say, right there north of Blowing Springs, when you see that darker black shading, that's going to be where your largest hail is across the area. All right, severe thunderstorm warning also continues for Blunt, Knox, Loudon, Roan. For this cell to the south, glad you turned on the generator. I was going to mention that. Thank you, Connor and Emily. Make sure we don't lose power here. This cell's starting to gain a little bit more strength. So just about to cross over into Knox County. So it's right along the 40-75 split. Eaton's Crossroads is where that is. So right along through there. I don't know if anybody upstairs, maybe we can just check, please, some of these TDOT SmartWay cameras. So one of the best ones you could check would be right there at the 40-75 split. Maybe check that for me, please, and let me know if we see anything. I will go back quickly and show you the camera. This is our Embassy Suites hotel camera, downtown Knoxville, kind of looking west-northwest. I'm going to turn it a little further south just to see if we can see any of that cell that's coming up out of Loudoun County. I don't know that we'll be able to yet, but we'll at least have it in that direction in case it does kind of come in that direction. So let me sweep it back down towards the sun sphere. I'm going to kind of point it down between the sun sphere and the river while that's turning around. Don't see anything showing up now, but again, we'll keep an eye on this and just keep scanning the skies there as we go over the next little bit. Let me take also a look. TIS Insurance Services building camera, West Knoxville, so it's a little further to the west. See if we see anything showing up there quickly. I don't know if you guys can, if you can re-cue that video, I may want to show that again here in a minute as well out of Cumberland County. That was very impressive. So let me know if you can do that here in just a minute. Okay, thank you. All right, so let's do an update here for you. We are sitting at 7:47. We still have a tornado warning. Morgan County has been cleared for now. You don't have any active warnings in your area, but the tornado warning continues for Scott County till 8:15, and then this warning continues for Anderson, extreme northwest Knox, southern Campbell and right up to the Union County border. That goes until 8 o'clock. We'll see if they continue this. At minimum, this thing could be cranking out some very large hail, showing 2 2/4 inch diameter hail. And again, to put that in perspective, what we're talking about here, we could be talking about larger than golf ball. So that would be larger than golf ball size hail, probably less than tennis ball, but that's pretty impressive hail with these storms. That's telling me that there's very strong updrafts, or that the storms have a lot of rising air in them, and it didn't take much to help them spin a little bit to produce, the possibility of some tornadoes like we had earlier back into Cumberland County. I don't know, let me know if we have that video. I wanted to show that again. Had a couple of different shots of some video. I see it queued up, so let me know if we're ready to go there, Emily. Okay, yeah, please. Well, go ahead and show this. This was earlier. This was some video that was sent in. This is from Steve Fan, and if you look, you can actually see debris being lofted into the air. So that is a tornado that has made contact. It is a funnel cloud making contact with the ground, which is by definition a tornado, because you can actually see debris being lofted into the air. So again, this was out of the Cumberland County area. Looks like it's from a Ford dealership there, East Tennessee Ford. All right, we had one other one as well that was very impressive. I don't know if we have that. Yes, the Walmart video. And look at that. You can actually see the vortex at the bottom there. So that is a tornado. This is from Christy Nelson. So this was definitely a tornado. Play it back at a loop back one more time. If you look at the first couple of frames right there, you see that vortex. That's pretty impressive. That's a pretty powerful tornado. Maybe it's small in stature, but easily could have been producing some damage. So again, this is why we're staying on the air, people. If you are going to be taking those kind of videos, please make sure it's safe, all right? We want to make sure you're safe. We want to get it documented, of course, but we want to make sure that it is safe to do so. Now, let's quickly recap as we're getting close to the top of the hour. It's about 10 till. The active warnings we have a severe thunderstorm warning for Knox County. That cell is just about completely out of Loudoun County now, so this is going to be for the west side of Knox County. Severe thunderstorm warning till 9:30, or excuse me, 8:30. But what I will say is that cell could easily be producing some 1 inch in diameter hail, so about the size of a quarter. All right, so make sure vehicles are parked inside. Make sure you're staying away from windows. So it's near Dixie Lee Junction right now. Fox Den, the golf course area, 755. Wood Chase, 756, and Bel Air, 757. As that kind of is going to slide right along the I-40 corridor, probably moving almost parallel to it, the way it's looking right now. I want to go back quickly and just take a look at the camera there. So again, this is the TIS Insurance Services building camera. Maybe you froze there. Let's see if I can get it to reload here to see if this is a current image. Looks like it may not be loading, so let me switch back to the TIS one. So this will be a little bit further to the east. It's downtown, but we're looking kind of in that same general direction. You can see it looks like some rain is starting to make its way in now to at least west side of Knox County. But another problem you may not be able to see, I-40 level road, okay, TDOT SmartWay cameras here. Pretty heavy rain. You can see the roads are certainly wet, kicking up a lot of spray across the area, which is no real surprise there. There we go. So tornado warning, tune into local media. Well, that's a good idea. It's actually a severe thunderstorm warning for Knox County at this point. The tornado warning does include extreme northwest Knox. So I see why they have listed that over in the overhead cameras or the overhead signage. That's a great thing to do. Some pea-sized hail being reported near Anderson County High School, home of the Mavericks. A little pea-sized hail there in Anderson County, so it's going to be with this cell. So that's told me that maybe it's a little weaker, but it still where you see the darker shading of this purple into black. So there's Anderson County. Those are pea-sized hail, so just on the north side. That core, though, that's south of Anderson County High School near I-75, I would imagine there's some larger hail with that, maybe closer to golf ball size. And all right, we got another shot. TDOT SmartWay cameras being told. Mile marker 369.2, if I'm not mistaken. That's getting a little closer to Watt Road. Maybe back, yeah. So that's out towards Watt Road. So you can see that's that heavy rain that's kind of making its way in towards the metro. So that's some of that real heavy rainfall. I would say if you could, maybe here in a little bit, get one along Pellissippi, maybe just south of I-40. So maybe Fox Fox Road, check on that one for me if you could, please. Getting some great help from our producers and directors, so thank you for that. Let's get another recap. Now, the warnings we have, the active tornado warnings, this is Scott County. So it's this cell right through here that goes into late 15, and this is moving kind of east, maybe just a little north of due east at about 30 miles per hour. Fairview School at 8:06, Dean at 8:09, Pioneer at 8:15. So that's going to push it into Campbell County. We'll see if they extend that. My gut kind of tells me it'll be a severe thunderstorm warning, but we'll see. This one we still need to keep an eye on as well. About to cross I-75, there's probably some hail falling on the I-75 corridor as you exit Knox and go up through the Norris area. I would imagine there's some hail with that as well, showing about 1 inch in diameter. All right, so this is Parkside. Let's see if we can see that one. Looks like a disabled vehicle, maybe a couple of cars pulled over. I hope there wasn't an incident, maybe an accident with the heavy rain and roads. But keep in mind, roads are going to be slippery. We've not had rain in a while in some spots. There's a lot of ponding on the roads. There's heavy rainfall with this, and that's another issue with these cells. It may be hard to actually see if there's any type of a tornado, what we call rain wrapped sometimes, right? It's raining so hard, the funnel may be somewhere in the middle of that heavy rain, and you wouldn't be able to see it. That's why we don't want you to go out and look for it. Make sure that storm's passed by. Get another report of some quarter-size hail. I talked about this, Anderson County, I-75, exit 122 next to the Walmart. So it's right through that same area along I-75. So that's quarter size. That's 1 inch in diameter size hail. Makes sense with that cell. Now this one that's in Scott County, we are starting to see maybe some rotation re-showing up with that, probably near the Cordell area. Let's see. Let me put a track on this for you. Right there. All right, so Cordell, 8 o'clock. Kind of two areas. Interesting. I think the southern one's probably more worth watching, though. Fairview School, 8:08, Straight Fork, 8:11, Pioneer, 8:17. So that's as it works into way into Campbell County. So I said we'll see if warning gets issued a little further to the east into Campbell County. This goes into late 15, but at minimum, Campbell County, please just make sure you're paying attention. Yeah, the southern part of that cell is the one I'd be watching that could have the rotation with it right through there, right where that blue is close to the red. It's kind of broad, but I would say that would be our area that we would need to watch near Cordell headed towards Dean. So I would imagine Campbell County, the warning may be coming soon. We'll keep an eye on that. Quarter-size hail near Clinton, near Sycamore Court. Get a drink of water. All right. It's 7:56 right now, so we should soon get an update on these tornado warnings as they're getting a little bit closer to their expiration time. But the one I would be watching certainly there is into Scott County, right through here where we're seeing that darker red. That's the strong shear or strong rotation showing up within that cell. Not seeing as pronounced rotation with the one that's in I-75 there in Anderson County, and we're not seeing it, thankfully, back into the Farragut community, but I bet we're still seeing some hail with some of these, where you see the darker, starts to get in the purple or even the black shading. That's when we're seeing the potential of some decent sized hail with this. Looks like we may have a new severe thunderstorm warning. This is going to be for Anderson, Granger, Jefferson, Knox, Union till 9. Wow, that's going to be a big one. Let's see where this is going to go. All right, so it's that one. So it's Southern Union, West Granger, kind of Northwest Jefferson, and Northern Knox. It's going to be with that cell. So they're taking the tornado warning. It'll be downgraded to a severe thunderstorm warning, but it still has that tag that we could be seeing a potential tornado with this, because the rotation still, although it's weak, we could see that redevelop. Don't want to forget our southeast Kentucky counties. We do have a warning up into southeast Kentucky. This is going to be for Bell County, Kentucky, and this cell's moving to the north and east. That's going to be near Colmar at 8:05, Ponza 8:08, Page Elementary at 8:09. That's going to be again for Bell County, Kentucky. That's a severe thunderstorm warning until 8:15. There's the new severe thunderstorm warning that went out for Union County that goes until 9 o'clock, northern Knox as well. Now, the southern cell that we've been watching, I don't know if you have it, but if you could let me know when you get the TDOT SmartWay camera right around Pellissippi and I-40. So maybe you're north of Fox Road going up to right where it meets with I-40. I think that area probably would be pretty impressive to see. I'm going to zoom in. So right through here. Okay, probably going to see some hail with that as it moves through. At minimum, some very heavy rainfall. And that cell is going to be near Bel Air. Okay, there it is. So what exactly is that? Okay, that's right where I-40 and Pellissippi. Yeah, so that's right there at 40 and Pellissippi. So the right side is going back towards Oak Ridge. The left side is coming back down towards the Kingston Pike exit, I believe is where that is. So, all right, just keep that one up there for a minute. We can go back to the radar. Want to focus on these tornado warnings that we have. Again, this cell still showing maybe the potential for some rotation here into Anderson County. This goes until 8 o'clock, 2 more minutes from right now. They did go ahead and issue a severe thunderstorm warning ahead of that, but still would not be surprised if there were still some rotation with this cell as it moves further to the east. But regardless, this is where we're looking at. It's Fairview School around 8:04, Andersonville 8:06, Stokes Mill, that's at 8:10, and Blueberry Hills at 8:13. So that's going to push it into southwest Union and northwest Knox are some of those later times that we're looking at there. Moving east at about 30 miles per hour. Quarter size hail. Excuse me, some quarter-size hail, as I mentioned, back towards Clinton. That was earlier near the Sycamore Court area in Clinton, if you're familiar with that. It was that same cell. It was this cell that we have tracked right there that crossed I-75. I talked about that earlier. Could be some decent-sized hail with it. It's showing maybe weakening some, the hail core with it, coming down to about 3/4 inch. But I'm still seeing that little appendage right through there, that inflow notch, we call it, right around I-75. So it could be one of those cases just like what we saw earlier with some of the video back into Cumberland County where you have the lowering or the wall cloud from the base that is slowly rotating across the area, which makes sense with some of these. All right, we got some video out of Huntsville, which is in Scott County. Let's see if we've got this.
We've got these videos.
See if you can punch Don. Is your mic on, Don?
I'm done.
There you go.
Yeah, and I wanted just to get your take on it because at least the one's from Huntsville, but I don't know which order we have these in. This is the Huntsville one. There are 2 of them. The first one is not, I don't see as much as I do, and it's 20 seconds long as the next video. I don't know if you can see more in the next video, or maybe it is this one.
Hard to tell with that.
It's hard to tell. I don't know if the other video...
That's from Danny Sexton. Danny, thank you
Yeah,
for
Danny
sending that
Sexton
in.
has sent that in, and this, I think, maybe it was the other way around. It's hard, like you said, it's getting really washed out on the screen. There you go. Now this is the newest Crossville one.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it from different angles, but this was I think Crystal Lee's version of it. Pretty impressive right there. And that's that same, I'm going to guess it's that same one, but maybe a different one. And I don't know if you have it, Don, do you still have the Christy Nelson one that people who maybe have not been watching, if that's possible? I know it's nearby there, the one that showed the bottom, that showed it actually, the debris in it. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, the one that is showing the debris. I know we kind of saw this last time, but it would just so people understand this is
the very first frames of this, Don, is what right there, that vortex. You see it spinning. It kind of almost goes to the north and east. The vortex does. That's telling me that's when you get those separate vortices or separate vortex. That's indicative of a stronger system, a stronger tornado. So that could easily be doing some damage in some spots. I'm sure they'll probably send out a survey team to review that. But again, this is why we're staying on the air. We get people saying, gosh, you're messing up my viewing. I understand it. I get it, especially areas east that haven't had anything yet. But we want to make sure our community is safe, and that's our policy. We stay on the air until the threat for tornadoes has ended. Now, we still have this tornado warning, a sliver of it for Scott County that goes until 8:15. This continues to push to the east at about 30 miles per hour. But these individual cells we're keeping an eye on here back into Anderson County, the one near Norris, that could still be producing some hail with that as it moves east. Getting some reports of pea-size hail back into Farragut right now. Let's see. Anything else? All right, so they canceled the warning for Morgan County. That makes sense. That warning has been dropped, but this one's still showing the possibility of some rotation right through here, headed towards Dean at about 8:07, Buckeye at 8:16, Titus at 8:16, and Turley at 8:16. So that's our last sliver of the tornado warning for Scott County, which goes until 8:15. We'll see if that gets extended. Getting some 3/4 inch hail in the Norris area. All right, so they're going to go ahead and extend this east, as I thought, for Campbell County. So you'll see it pop up here in just a second. That tornado warning is going to go east into Campbell County. So Caravel, La Follette, go ahead and get into your safe area now. All right, you're going to see it pop up here any second. There it is. There's the new tornado warning. So Caravel, Dean, Block, Titus, La Follette, Valley View, Cotulla, Agee. Make sure you're in your safe area, okay? This new tornado warning has come out. Let me get it timing. Goes until 8:45. Still seeing that rotation with this cell. This one's been impressive. It's held together for a while. Rotation would be pretty close to the Dean area right now. Basically, wherever you see this little cone, where the cylinder, as it touches down, that's where the greatest opportunity for rotation would be. This computer we have, you only see it here at WATE 6 on your side. For the TV stations, it's high technology. I mean, it tells us where to look, easily look for where the greatest rotation would be within a storm. Doesn't mean that there's an actual tornado on the ground, but it's telling me this is the area we need to focus on where the greatest risk for rotation would be. Now, areas to the north where you see this darker purple, Dean, back towards almost a royal blue, this is where the hail core would be. This is where you'd have hail falling from the storm. It's back at the back base of it where we would have potential rotation with it. And again, that's what we keep an eye on here. All right, severe thunderstorm warning continues for Blount and Knox County, but it says also, as I mentioned, there's that potential tornado tag on it. Means there is that possibility you could see a tornado from this cell as well. So again, this is why we're staying on the air. We want to make sure you're safe. I know areas Morristown, Hamblin, Granger, Sevier County, you've not had anything head your way, and that's good. So far, you have not, but that potential still exists as we go through the evening because there's a line of storms right through here that's making its way towards the plateau. This is going to be moving through over the next several hours. This is more of a potential of some damaging wind gust as it comes through, where everything ahead of this line, these individual cells, they're the ones we watch that have the potential for seeing rotation across the area like we've seen, the potential tornadoes and also the larger hail threat. That line that comes through later this evening, that's more of a threat for damaging wind gust. Not really a hail threat. That's what these cells are producing. So this severe thunderstorm warning right on the Anderson-Knox-Union County border, that's moving east near Beulah at 8:08. Paulette Elementary there. I hear the rain hitting our roof. All right, we've got traffic cam. Let's take a look at this. This is the TDOT SmartWay camera. That's Cedar Bluff, I-40, and you can see that's pavement pounding kind of rain. It's going to be really difficult to see. Please be very careful if you do have any travel plans and you're moving. Hey, I think we got some video as well out of Oak Ridge of a potential.
I'm going to get your thoughts on this because this is pretty impressive. I mean, it's just pretty impressive. Even if we weren't having the situation we're having, this is.
Yeah, okay, so that's what we call a wall cloud. You can kind of see a lowering from it, but without it being in motion, it's really hard to tell from behind that tree line if that is actually touching the ground. Sometimes what you get is what's called scud, or a fancy word is fractus clouds. And what happens is rain-cooled air falls, it kind of elongates the cloud base, and it can make it look like fingers almost stretching down, and that's what's called a scud cloud. And maybe that's what that is. Hard to tell without it seeing a video type to see if it's actually rotating.
You had just mentioned also that like in the Watt Road area, and it was coming down. I just talked to a viewer. Oh, it's coming down hard, and now it's already gone. Like
Okay,
you know,
so it
at
didn't last
Watt
long.
and about Kingston Pike, that kind of, that area, it was coming down, and now it's, at least, it's not coming down right now, so.
And we're kind of focusing this camera again back towards the west. This is from downtown Embassy Suites Hotel, and we'll be looking almost due west. So it's some heavy rain. We briefly heard it here on our roof, and I think we're about to get a little bit more as this comes through. But let me go back to the radar, and I'll show you what we're talking about. That little bit of rain that we had was probably, yeah, that was just a little bit that moved through that's over near Austin East right now. But this one is what's probably producing the pea-size hail reports that we're getting out of the Farragut area earlier as this moves east. So that one's worth watching. This is a severe thunderstorm warning, which has the potential. We could see some rotation with it. Maybe, like I mentioned, one of those wall clouds that's lowered. Worth watching. Had earlier at the Clinton exit, probably with this cell, there was a report of a wall cloud as well with it. Some broad rotation as well, so it most likely was with this cell as it came through. In fact, let me go back. We'll do just over the past 30 minutes, and that would have been this cell, most likely right through there. So that would have been the one that produced maybe the rotation as it moved near the Clinton area. Not seeing as pronounced now rotation. This one's still pretty impressive though here. This is coming out of Scott County into Campbell County. I'll put a track on this. So it would be this area we're watching near Dean, moving east at about 30 to 35. So the Hickey area, 814, Block 815, High Point 818, Caryville Elementary at 819, and Cove Lake Estates at around 820. Now it looks like they're going to extend this a little further to the east because this warning goes until 845. Let's see what they're about to extend. It looks like it may include Claiborne County. Let's see what they do here. There it is. So they pushed it a little further to the north as well, just maybe some broad rotation areas north with that cell. So they went ahead and issued this one. So it's going to be for Claiborne County, western Claiborne, this goes until 9, and northern Campbell till 9. I still think the greater risk is maybe south, but they're seeing, let's take a look, see if we're seeing a little bit of, yeah, there it is. So right there near Broyles. So right there with the red and green, you see that right there next to each other. That would be the concern. So that's why the warning was issued here. Let's put a track on this. Moving east at about 30. So Habersham, 817, Wynn Elementary, 817, Duff, 818, Chaska, 819, Remy, 819, and Russell Fork, the same. So that'll be making its way into Claiborne County as well. So if you're from Powell Valley area, westward to Clearfield, please make sure you're in your safe area. All right, is this broad rotation? But again, we've seen it. You know, the lowering of the clouds, it could be rotating, and at any point, we could see it actually touch down and produce a tornado. So there's our one area of rotation, and then this one may be a little more broad, but oof, that's impressive. When I see that 6.3, again, that has me really concerned. That cell right through there. Yeah, there it is. So there's our inflow notch right through here. This has been the strongest signature I've seen so far today. So we're north and west of the Caryville area, east of Dean. Turley, please make sure you're in your safe area. Jacksboro, La Follette, do the same. Don't wait, please. Go ahead and get into your safe area, lowest level of your room, interior room, closet. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. But this would be my biggest concern right through there, where that rotation is showing up.